What movie traumatized you as a kid? E.T. terrified me. Then my dad made it 1000x worse by telling me that the gurgling noises a tub makes as it's draining is E.T. and that he's coming to get me. The old IT. Mom is a huge Stephen King fan, so I was 6 or 7 the first time I watched it. Tim Curry. Man, I didn't shower without either my mom or sister standing guard for at least a year. When the new one came out, my mom thought it'd be fun to tie a red balloon to the sewer grate outside our house. Full-grown adult or not. Fuck that. Edit because I saw it. The VHS my siblings kept on the top shelf. A piece of masking tape with Blair Witch Sharpied on. Taught me to be curious. Me too. I was also about 7. It was on TV, so my mom didn't pay too close of attention to us kids watching it. Somehow I was convinced that when I flushed the toilet he'd come get me. So for years I'd flush then run for my life. The brave little toaster. That fucking clown. Or the air conditioner frying himself in his window. The scrapyard scene, where they're all singing as they get crushed about unfulfilled hopes and dreams. There was a movie called Arachnophobia or something like that. My father let me watch it at a ridiculously young age. I remember asking him if we'd move if our house had deadly spiders. His response was absolutely not. Not sure why we said it, but it affected me quite a bit and I'm not sure why. Monster House. Weirdly enough, I absolutely love that movie. I would watch it over and over. Lol. Jaws. Can't swim in the sea or a lake without thinking, however fleetingly, that there's a shark nearby. I am convinced, for example, that the Norwegian fjords are filled with Greenland sharks. They actually held a screening of Jaws on a lake, with people sitting on rafts and other floating objects. The organizers also hired divers to pull on people's legs during certain scenes. Sounds perfect for you. I'd be the one crying. Nightmare on the Elm Street. It scared me enough that I couldn't really sleep properly. This film I saw in late USSR in summer pioneer camp. Freddy was fucking extra scary for Soviet kids. Fuck. Now I'm afraid to sleep. Coraline. From Neil Gaiman's Tumblr eons ago. Fun fact I learned from seeing Neil Gaiman speak. When he first wanted the book published, his editor said it was too scary. He suggested she read it to her young daughter, and then decide. So she did, and her daughter wasn't afraid, and it was published. Years later, Gaiman was sitting next to that daughter at an event and told her this story. And she said, "Oh, I was terrified, I just didn't want to tell my mom." Coraline was too scary to be published, but exists anyway because a girl lied to her mother. That's a really good story. A lie can save not just lives but franchises as well. Lol. They managed to make fucking buttons scary. Remember me, Eddie? When I killed your brother, I talked just like this. Exclamation mark. 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 Oh, fuck that movie with a rusty metal brush. Come sit by me and we can be traumatized together. Jessica Rabbit was hot, though. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Monsieur flipping through channels when I was about 6 and came across the dinner scene with the snakes and monkey brains. The playful music was a little lost on me and I was still horrified. Later flipped through channels and came across the scene where the guy's heart is grabbed. That also scarred me pretty badly for a while. Watership Down. Now why on earth that is classed as a kid's film I have no idea. This movie is what I picture whenever that question is asked. Last year I finally decided to read the book and I loved it. I am in my 40s now, by the way. The story was a bit rough and tumble but nothing like the horror show I remember the movie as being. So, I had a family movie night and decided to get over my childhood trauma and watch the film again with adult eyes after having read the book. The movie was worse than I remember. My kids hated it. One left the room. Monsieur. It will be our annual Easter flick. I still have vivid visions of the red screen flashing when the rabbits die or get buried in their holes by the tractors. I'm 42 and can hear the sound effect to this day. The never-ending story. The horse dying just ruined me. Came here for this. ARTAX. Large March in Pee-wee's Big Adventure terrified me and all my friends. James and the Giant Peach. My mom thought it was a cute movie and showed it to me when I was 7. That scene of the haunted ship with the skeletons, the centipede, and the compass still haunt me to this day. For some reason the giant cloud representing James's parents being killed terrified me. Final Destination 3. The Tanning Salon. My first movie, Boobs and They Burned Alive. The tanning booth scene still has me traumatized. I can't even look at a tanning bed without being terrified. Howard the Duck 1 week, and then Return to Oz the week after. Sad face. Return to Oz was surely a creepy film, monsieur. It's also amazing and couldn't take my eyes off it as a kid. Return to Oz definitely fucked me up. Goddamned Wheelers, man. Y'all ever seen The Velveteen Rabbit? Kid gets scarlet fever and has to have all his toys burned. But his favorite stuffed bunny loves him so much it becomes real and hops away. Presumably racked with survivor's guilt. Anyway, when my class watched this movie I was homesick. Not scarlet fever. For the beginning and end. Really only catching the scene with the furnace. This left my young mind under the impression that my toys were both alive and liable to be unceremoniously culled with no warning or explanation. DUUUDE. I didn't see the movie but I had the book. OMG, the nostalgia. The Mummy. There was a scene where some golden bugs come alive and entered into one of the characters' body, and I have a phobia of bugs now. Yes, that was horrifying. The way it crawled around under his skin. Shivers. Mars Attacks. Bridge to Terabithia. More like Bridge to ripping my heart out. Why was that a kid's film? I'd read the book. When I saw the trailer I thought, you lying sons of bitches. Dark Crystal used to creep me out but it never stopped me from watching it. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Scared the shit out of me. Now, I love it. Poltergeist. More specifically, the cameraman in the bathroom scene who notices a slight cut on their face. Many years later my son wanted to see it. After seeing it in a stack of free DVDs, we skipped that specific part. He did see it much later and said he was glad he didn't see it back then. Spirited Away. Most little kids don't make it past the pigs. But I made it all the way to no face throwing up before I asked my mom to turn it off. Now it is one of my favorite movies. Signs. Don't know why, it just freaked me out so much. Yes, especially when you actually see the aliens at that birthday party for the first time. Also, I was a young girl who had an older brother that did baseball. I had childhood asthma, and I thought water tasted funny. I had nightmares for weeks. That fucking Cat in the Hat movie. Dirty Ho, Cat. That movie was so bad that Dr. Seuss's widow stopped approving live-action adaptations of his works. After it, believe it or not, Nemo. I had a weird-ass dream or something. The little shrimp dude rolled me into sushi while my family watched and laughed. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Not the reveal at the end, but the outright on-screen murder of the animated shoe. Labyrinth with David Bowie. Love, hate that movie. Bowie is awesome, so my kids have been watching it since birth. But the Fire Gang were creepy and Jennifer Connelly in that movie is just terrible. My daughter at 2 years old was terrified of it, so we took a break from watching it and she was subsequently terrified of all Muppets for a while. She's 7 now and loves Labyrinth and the Muppets. The Shining, 1997. The lady in the bathtub scene was horrifying. Didn't see that make, but the original movie with Jack Nicholson has broken me for life. My mother allowed us to watch it at a sleepover with about 5 other 10-year-old girls. After watching it, anytime one of us started to fall asleep, the others would start whispering "Red Rum" in their ear. Nightmares for months. Couldn't watch anything with Jack Nicholson without the nightmares starting back up. Finally, at like 18 years old, I decided to try immersion therapy and I watched like 5 Jack Nicholson movies in one night. Big fucking mistake. As a trans guy, seeing the movie Boys Don't Cry as a kid really fucked me up. And still has me fucked up to this day. Just the thought of that story makes me so fucking sad. Watched Terminator 2 when I was about 8. The spear through the milk jug scene and the vision Sarah has at the park were pretty traumatic. I also remember being overcome with a grief I didn't really understand yet at the end. Jaws. When I was in 2nd grade, my parents decided to take my brother and me down to Disney World. We drove from Wisconsin to Florida in the back of my dad's F-150. It was a regular cab with no extra seating, that my dad had a hardcover shell on and threw a loose pair of car seats into. When we got there, it was too dark to go to the beach. So my parents got us some shitty takeout and we went to the hotel room to eat and rest up for our first time ever going to the beach. My jackass father decided, what better way to ready ourselves for the beach than by watching Jaws. I was almost too afraid to even go to the beach, let alone wade out past anything above my ankles. Chucky. I still vividly remember that night from when I was 5 and I still have flashbacks whenever I watch a horror movie. 22 now. I cannot watch a horror movie without having that memory popping up in my mind and feel irritated. Willy Wonka. Not just the horrific boat scene, but more for the life-altering mutilations the children suffered for the relatively minor crimes of having about as much self-control as most other children. Also, the fact that Charlie also succumbed to temptation but was given everything in the end anyway. But mostly the mutilations. Batman, the one where Jack Nicholson played the Joker, really stuck with me and can't watch anything with him in it. 6-year-old me was not ready for the Joker to fry that dude with the buzzer. I vaguely remember that. For me it's just his face. He is such a creepy guy to me. Saw one scene from The Exorcist and it was enough. Also Mel Gibson's Passion of Christ. Dude, I watched The Exorcist in film class and we all laughed at the FX. Then when I was alone in my bed later I opened my eyes and thought, oh no. I am afraid. I am very afraid. Lol. My parents' homemade porn VHS. Candyman. Leprechaun. WTF. Pan's Labyrinth. I don't recall the plot 100%. I just remember the scene where the Spanish-speaking general military guy had his nose and face bashed in by a beer bottle. As a child, I had to get up and leave. Any recall to that scene immediately upsets my stomach. That was not a kid's movie. I don't care what anyone says. It started weird then ended extremely creepy. Jurassic Park. Even though I knew that dinosaurs had been dead for millions of years, that didn't stop me from being terrified that there was a velociraptor outside my bedroom door just waiting for me to leave, to go to the bathroom so it could eat me. I would stand at my door for 5+ minutes absolutely terrified that there was a million-year-old dino that survived long enough just for its chance to gobble me up. I would sprint through the hallway, go pee and then repeat the terrified 5+ min process when I had to leave the bathroom, monsieur. I also had reoccurring nightmares for years about velociraptors eating my family. Ironically now, I'm absolutely obsessed with prehistory and prehistoric creatures, and Jurassic Park is one of my favorite book series. Edit. Words are hard on mobile. Zombieland. At 10, the opening with the guy getting eaten scared me for about a week. Ironically, it's one of my favorite movies now. Double Tap. Always remember cardio. Poor fat bastards. That movie rocks. I don't know the title, but it was a cartoon movie about cats. 2 cats were fighting and one cat slit the other cat's stomach open and all the intestines fell out. It was super graphic. Feel it. Yes, that's the movie. Thank you. I am legend. The Exorcist nightmares for months after seeing it on TV when I was 7 or so. Watching the remastered one as an adult. They added in faces in the shadows. I made my ex turn it off. Creeped me the heck out. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.